Hi and Assalamualaikum. My name is Siti Nur Fatiha binti Muhammad Zuraidi. So today I'm going to brief a bit about the background of the study for our research. Our title research is talking about the youngster perception towards the governance practice of mosque in Malaysia. So as we all know that the mosque is known as the merge place of all Muslims, where various kind of activity can be carried out at any mosque in Malaysia. So this study we highlight that it is the responsible of all Muslims to ensure or to make sure the well-being, the stability of the mosque. Plus, the governance practice of mosque should also be able to manage and organize efficiently in order to achieve the objective of the institution.
Problem statement. The key challenge of managing mosques is to ensure efficient and proper governance management practice. The issue that often arises is operational of mosques. For example, mosques have unconducive facilities like fail to manage the facilities particularly with regard to uncontrolled infrastructure, hygiene, inadequate sanitary facilities, poor monitoring tools, and utilization of conventional facilities management techniques. The next issue is financial. Mostly, most suffer from lack of funds and require or expect contribution from the public. The mismanagement of zakat fund is said to be one of the reasons that hinder the poverty elevation, which most likely could affect the level of peacefulness. Azman et al. 2019. Lack of funds can affect human resources. Several youth commented that the invited speaker failed to attract the youth due to their bland presentation and promote political inclination. There are mosques that not friendly, which make youth feel uncomfortable or worried about the treatment of the people most toward them, and older congregation who feel unsatisfied and uncomfortable with the young generation who fill the front row to pray. The research question of the study first is what is the relationship between the administrative management of mosques and youngster perception toward governance practice of mosques in Malaysia? Second, what is the relationship between the management activities of mosques and youngster perception toward governance practice of mosques in Malaysia? Third, what is the relationship between the facility management of mosques and youngsters' perception towards governance practice of mosques in Malaysia? Fourth, what is the relationship between the financial management of mosques and youngster perception toward governance practice of mosques in Malaysia? Fifth, what is the relationship between the accountability of mosques and youngster perception toward governance practice of mosques in Malaysia? Last is, what is the relationship between the internal control system and the youngster perceptions governance practice of mosques in Malaysia?
Research objectives are the outcome of a study achieved by conducting the research. The research objective of the summary of the accomplishment a researcher wishes to achieve through the project and provide direction to the study. The objective of the study is to identify the relationship between independent and dependent variables.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Siti Hajar binti Muhammad Asri. My number matric is A19A0853. I will explain about the part scope of the study. This study will investigate the youngsters' perception towards governance practice of mosques in Malaysia. In addition, the respondents of these studies will be among Malaysian citizens from Muslim people between the age of 15 to 24 years old. The sample of the research will be drawn conventionally about 455,584 respondents from Kedah. This study will be focused on the youngest among Muslim pupils in Kedah.
There are 7 definitions of terms based on independent and dependent variables in this study. First, youngster perception toward governance practice. According to Mantush on 2005, youngster perception toward governance practice refer to those situations where you expect from adults based on their decision to set overall policy direction of organization to lead a good management. Administrative management of mosque. According to Tamkini on 2000 11. There are three key posts that play an important role in the administrative management of the mosque, which are chairman, secretary, and treasurer. Third, management activity of mosque. According to Muhammad Noor et al. On 2008, there are diversity of the program implemented in the mosque will be able to eliminate the general perception of the society that the mosque only serves as a place of worship. Take the effort to return the original function of the mosque to its function during the time of Prophet Muhammad. For facility management of mosque, according to Alia et al. On 2030, the right of facility management of mosque will contribute the good of performance of a mosque. 5. Financial management of mosque. Hussein et al. On 2040 was explaining, among other responsibility of the mosque court member appointed in addition to administering the mosque, in managing the property and fund the mosque. And the next, accountability of mosque. Accountability can be defined as a duty to provide an account by no means necessarily a financial account or reckoning of those actions for which one is held responsible. The next statement by Villayunta and Pereira on 2004, accountability has frequently been presented as a rational practice to ensure responsibility by individual and institutions, which should be implemented in all civil society, economic system, and organization. The last one, internal control system of mosque. An internal control system is defined as the policy and procedure put in place to ensure the protection of an organization asset and the reliability of financial reporting. Internal control system also provide only reasonable assurance and not absolute assurance regarding the achievement of an organization objective. Implementing a proper system will help the organization operation become more effective and efficient.
Next, we were talking about the organization of the proposal. For chapter 1, which is the introduction part, this part will define the youngster perception to the governance practice of mosque in more detail in terms of the problem statement, the research statement, the research question, and the scope of the study. And for chapter 2, it will address the introduction, the analysis of the level awareness in order to make an improvement and to understand the perception of the youngster to the governance practice of mosque. And the chapter 3, which is the methodology part, this chapter will describe the method has been used in the study and also will define about the development of the research and the data analysis.
The theory of planned behavior was developed to extend the theory of reasoned action, according to the statement by Edson and Fishbein on 1918. TRA relate to the voluntary behavior as being interpretable by people's attitude toward a certain of behavior and subjective norm. The theory of reasoned action was highlight the key point of the theory of planned behavior is an intention, which the intention will act as a motivational dynamic in affecting people's behavior. Based on statement by Edson on 1991, the theory can be workable if the behavior was under the voluntary control, the need opportunities and resources available, such as money, time, skill, and education. There are three independent variables related to this theory, which are attitude, subjective norm, and perceived behavioral control. TBP theory has been applied in various business and management related fields, covering specific areas in accounting, marketing, tourism, and taxation. The theory of planned behavior will help members of mosque create a good behavior to practice governance system in their daily tasks. This theory will help to discipline members to do a good management so the daily administration is in order and runs smoothly according to the plan. The theory also will lead the member to have suggestive norms to on their phone to attract young people to join them into a task of governance practice system with the aim of providing experience to youth.
Okay, this is the previous study. In this section, I will brief a bit about the independent and our dependent variable. Our dependent variable is the youngster perception towards the governance practice of MOSQUE. As you can see in the slide, facility management play a big role among elder management in order to create a good perception among the youngster. We all agree that the first thing that we will see when we come into the MOSQUE is the facility. So we can say here that a good management will provide a good facility. That is for our dependent variable. And our first independent variable is the administrative management. This management is a set of activity that to create or to enhance and lead the work and duty systematically. So by the legal and administrative framework, it might help to the development of the MOSQUE. Next is our second independent variable, which is the management activity of a MOSQUE. So according to the previous researcher, most of the MOSQUE nowadays is not utilize their public donation fund wisely. So the action that we can do here is by generating funds activities. This action will help the management to coordinating any kind of activity wisely. And the third independent variable is the facility management of a MOSQUE. Okay, the right management practice will give the best to improve the performance of the MOSQUE. Okay, this is because all the MOSQUE needed a good and a systematic management in order to provide a good facility to the community. Our fourth independent variable is the financial management of a MOSQUE. So based on the study conducted by Jafar Ahmad, the MOSQUE financial management is still poor and incompetent. So as a manager, they should well knowledge and professional in terms of organize the financial in order to handle the MOSQUE finance. The fifth independent variable is the accountability of a MOSQUE. So, the management of the MOSQUE is still deficient account in the accounting system. So, it is a must for a MOSQUE that act as a religious institution to implement the accountability for the management and also to the higher authority. Our last independent variable is talking about the internal control system of MOSQUE. The West Malaysia state that most of the MOSQUE write down their transaction in the cash book, but not make sure that all transactions were recorded customary. So the MOSQUE should initiate the proper internal control system in order to minimize the losses.
Hypothesis statement. H1. There is a positive relationship between administrative management of Mosque and youngster perception towards governance practice. H2. There is a positive relationship between management activities of Mosque and youngster perception toward governance practices. H3. There is a positive relationship between facility management of Mosque and youngster perception towards governance practices. H4. There is a positive relationship between financial management of Mosque and youngsters' perception towards governance practices. H5. There is a positive relationship between accountability of Mosque and youngster perception towards governance practice. H6. There is a positive relationship between internal control system of Mosque and youngster perception towards governance practices.
Conceptual framework. Conceptual framework is to learn how dependent variable depends on independent variable. The independent variable is administrative management of Mosque, management activity of Mosque, facility management of Mosque, financial management of Mosque, accountability of Mosque, and internal control system of Mosque. And the dependent variable is youngster perception toward governance practice.
For the research design, in this paper, the research method that we will use to collect all the info and the information needed is by using the quantitative research method. For the questionnaire, where we use the questionnaire to collect all the data. The questionnaire itself will be categorized according to the several sections and can be easy to analyze.
Data collection method. We use quantitative data collection approach. This data collection was done through the publication of a questionnaire related to the objective of the study revealed among Muslim young generation in Malaysia, with the following participation aged between 15 to 24 years. Research development involves the use of questionnaire based on a structure similar to the relevant data collection tools. Study population. The population for this study is young generation in Kedah between the age 15 to 24 years old. The population size is denoted by the letter N, and the total of the number of youths in Kedah for this study is approximately 455,525 respondents. The data obtained from the Zuji World Statistic in 2022.
The sample size in this study will focus on the youngster in Malaysia. The research will view on youngster perception toward governance practice of mosque in Malaysia. In general, our research will focus on the Malaysian Muslim only in Kedah. The adjustment in the sample size may be need to accommodate a comparative analysis of subgroup. According to Sutman, on 1976, the suggestion of minimum should be 100 elements is needed for each major group or subgroup in the sample and for each minor subgroup should be a sample of 20 to 50 elements is necessary. Finally, the sample size formula provides the number of responses that need to be obtained in this study.
Sampling techniques. Non-probability sampling. The population have no possibility of selection or when the probability of selection cannot be reliably established. And convenience sampling. A sample is taken from a population segment that is near to hand and data can be collected quickly.
Research instrument development. There are 3 sections in the questionnaire, which are part A deals with detail related to the background of the respondent, namely such as the gender of the respondent and the state of origin. Meanwhile, part B of the questionnaire will discuss on the dependent variable, and part C is related to independent variable. That's all for me. Thank you.
There are several types of measurement of the variable, but in this study we will use ordinary scale data because it fits to the method of the study we conduct, which is quantitative or survey questionnaire. To analyze the data, we will use Likert scale in the questionnaire. It is easy to use because we just assign it the ID code for each questionnaire in the section B and C only. There are 3 sections in this questionnaire, which are section A for the demography, meanwhile section B for dependent variable, and section C provide independent variable.
Procedure for data analysis. First, descriptive analysis. Descriptive statistics are used to summarize data in an organized manner by describing the relationship between variables in sample or population. Second, reliability test refers to the consistency of the measurement. Next, Pearson correlation coefficient, a statistical calculation of the strength of 2 variables relationship. Last is multiple regression, a statistical technique that can be used to analyze the relationship between a single dependent variables and several independent variables.
Okay, this is the last section in this video, which is the conclusion part. Based on the research, we can see the positive relationship between the youth perception or the youngster perception towards every single governance practice of mosque in Malaysia in terms of the administrative, the facilities, the management activity, the financial, the accountability, and the internal control system. So we can see here that the governance practice also play a big role in order to create a good perception among the youngster. So that's all from us. Thank you.